Hey, this is Cornelius Lindsey, and welcome to the Silent Majority. You know, with growing partisan distaste amongst many voters, there's a silent majority that's growing that doesn't find a home in either of America's two major political parties. People don't know how to identify themselves, and a large number of people are simply not voting. Of all the voters, many people are just unsatisfied with either the candidates or the system. This silent majority is growing, and we have something to say. Welcome to the Silent Majority. Oh my goodness. That was
ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Hello, Silent Majority community. This is Cornelius here. And I just finished watching the first debate between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. And I guess let me get the preliminaries out of the way. I'm also joined by a good friend of mine, Mr. Robert Kelly. Robert was with me during the coverage of the Democratic National Convention, and brought him back on here so we can talk about this. Rob, I mean, maybe you have better words than I do.
No, the answer is no. I really don't, and it's overall to me. It's what I just watched was it's actually kind of a sad commentary, because it just to see that is the representation of the individuals that are contending for the highest office. You can pretty much say in the world, and one of the most powerful offices, and most powerful and prominent figures in the world, and just to kind of see that type of discourse, to me, it just really, it was very jarring to me. I think good.
I felt like I just watched an episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta between Nene Leakes and Kenya Moore.
I agree with you 100%.
I just, honestly, I walked out of this thing. My wife was there with me the whole time, and I just, I literally left my bedroom to come and record this, and my wife said, "What do you think?" And honestly, it's like I'm just really left speechless. One thing I can unequivocally say is that Chris Wallace deserves a extremely stiff drink right now. He deserves a good drink. Chris Wallace deserves a good drink. He probably needs him a good hour alone. And the man need a massage. The man, I just
absolutely.
I don't. I mean,
I was during the debate. I was trying to think if there was someone that could have done a better job. Or if there's someone that could have exactly.
No.
If it was the moderator, or if there was anyone that could have contained
the
disaster that just happened.
No.
And I think I came to the same conclusion, because it's I'm literally almost speechless, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, at the end of the day, I think who suffers the most is the public, right?
Yeah.
Because regardless of who you're going for, what you feel, this is supposed to be a point where we can get information that we need.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's the lack of information that was disseminated to me that is the most disheartening. This is supposed to be a time where you are able to see the contrasting views between the two people that are vying for the highest office in America, and we never got there, in my opinion. Maybe on two issues, you could possibly see, okay, clearly this is where this individual stands versus this is where this individual stands. But outside of that, the communication, the conversation broke down so much that it really was not a good opportunity for the viewer that is uneducated, that doesn't study political science or policy every day. It really was not a good opportunity for them to say, hey, this is what I believe. Which person is closer to that? And to me, that's what a debate's supposed to do. It's supposed to show where each candidate stands, and allow the viewer to then, based on that, be able to decide who they more closely, can relate to. And I just don't think that happened tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely wasn't a Kennedy Nixon debate. This wasn't a Reagan Carter debate.
Not at all. Not at all.
I even say this wasn't a Bush Kerry debate. And I mean, they had some doozies themselves. I think kind of, one of the things is that you mentioned was really trying to see the differing policies. And I thought that Joe Biden, I thought he did a good job in stating, his policies outside of what, Donald Trump continued to refer to as the radical left. He was saying, I'm not, the Green New Deal is not my deal. He said, I have the Biden plan, and then, when he was talking about climate change, when he was talking about the economy, when he was talking about healthcare. I mean, even though, Joe Biden's plan, he laid it out. He said, my plan is ultimately I'm going to take Obamacare and I want to expand it. I want to make it massive. I want to make it a large umbrella. It was like, this was a opportunity for him to show the differing views. Unfortunately, I felt like, Biden, he kind of kept getting baited into a lot of different other conversations. Yeah, I want to say the questionings though too. I heard some of the questions and I thought to myself, are these gotcha questions?
Absolutely. And they absolutely were. I think that they want. Normally what I'm used to is asking kind of like a generalized question and allowing, the individual to, either, think or swim kind of thing. What I do think, I think professionally, just on its face, Biden hint. However, I think that this debate actually hurt Biden more because I think Trump was correct in the fact that, and I saw it on my timeline. My timeline has conservatives, it has progressive, it has far left, extremists. I mean, my timeline is extremely diverse, and I keep it that way because I like to, see a wide array of opinions. And what was overwhelming and was very interesting is that though he was maintaining his composure better, clearly by far, a lot of his statements, I think, for some people, were convoluted. But then the points that he was clear about, it was only costing him his own base, which was the far left people. I think that he does, prior to this this debate, he did have far left people, the Bernie Sanders supporters, the Green New Deal supporters, that were in his corner. And when I tell you that my timeline was ranting and raving, I mean, that they were literally going ham. When he said, no, I don't support, the protest, or no, I don't support.
You started doing more for the police.
Exactly. The funding of the police. that sent out a statement to a lot of people that didn't really know that that's where he stood.
But okay, but we have to understand something. Okay, Joe Biden has been doing this for 47 years. Okay, and one thing we know about Joe is that Joe has always been a moderate Democrat. And
right.
and Joe sticks in the middle, which is why he was able to be friends with men like John McCain. He's been able to reach across the aisles, which, you know, ultimately he became a good vice presidential pick because being the head, you know, being at the top of the Senate and being the deciding vote if needed, he was able to maneuver around the Senate because he's been a senator for so many years. He's always been a moderate. We could never have expected. I think the progressives are so-called progressive, people call them progressive, whatever it may be. I think that it was erroneous on their part in the very beginning to assume that moderate Joe Biden for the last 47 years of his legislative terms. I think it was foolish to even think. It was erroneous to think that he was going to somehow say, okay, now we need to defund the police. Yes, I'm going to support the protesters. Yes, I want to agree with the Green New Deal. Yes, I'm going to support Bernie Sanders Medicaid for all. It's like these ideals or these ideas that progressives have had and have brought up. Some, you know, whatever, however you may feel about them. I think when it comes down to it, you would have to be foolish to assume that Joe Biden was going to accept these things. People have been saying, and here was one of my criticisms. One of my criticisms was that Joe Biden and Kamala have not laid out their particular policies. I think Joe Biden came out tonight and said, "This is who I am. I am my own man. He even pointed himself. He said, I am the Democratic Party. I'm the head of the Democratic Party." I don't know if that hurt him tonight, but I think the people who were looking for him to take charge, he did that tonight.
I think it did hurt him. And this is why. Because for the past, we'll say, 8 to 10 months, right, the Democratic Party has been shifting so far left in the last month, right? That it has literally, to an extent, isolated its moderate audience where they are looking to go somewhere else, right? So, and because there's been messaging, there has been commentary that has kind of identified the Democratic Party as a far left organization, and this is where we're going, to the far left.
Absolutely.
And so many people that were kind of even moderate, almost like this ship is sailing, and if it hasn't sailed already, it's on the ocean, right? And then what you have left is a base that is more left leaning, and so it's like the Democratic Party, its moderate, targets are kind of going off and leaving. And so his strong base right now would be the left, people that are more left leaning. And tonight it's him saying, but that's not me either. So it's like, now where's your base? And I think because, right, the Democratic Party has already identified themselves as, they're pro-choice unequivocally, and so that some of the moderates that are leaving, they're going independent, they're going Republican, they're gone, period. And then when you come to kind of law enforcement, if based on what people have been seeing over the past couple of months, people that kind of want order, they want reopening of the government, they said, okay, well, we don't have a home here either. They're going independent or going to, the Republican Party.
They're becoming
Republican. Now,
yeah.
And so now it's like whether you like it or not, the reality is the Democratic Party is a left-leaning party at this point. And so when you come out as the leader of the Democratic Party, a moderate leader of the Democratic Party that is left-leaning, where is your base?
Well, here's the thing, but I mean, what else do you expect for Joe to do? Like this is what many people, many independents, many people sit on the fence have been asking for. Let us know where you stand. And one thing I can say is that what he did not do is he didn't sit down on the sidelines and just kind of pussyfoot around and say, well, you know what? I'm still trying to pander to these. I'm still trying to pander to these people. I'm still trying to pander. He didn't do that. He said, he came out and he said, listen, I'm the head of the Democratic Party. Everybody, the critics always say that I'm being soft. I'm not being soft. The pundits are always saying I don't have policy. I'm telling you my policy. No, it is not the Green New Deal. This is not AOC's party. This is my party. No, this is not Bernie Sanders. I beat Bernie Sanders. And I had it. Now, Trump had his little thing to say, well, you barely beat him. And if he didn't drop out, then you wouldn't have won, blah, blah, blah. But whichever way it goes, he is still the Democratic Party. He's still the Democratic Party nominee. And to be the nominee, and right now in that particular place means that he himself is the head of the party. Hillary Clinton didn't adopt. When she ran against Trump, she didn't adopt everybody else's plan. She gave her plans. Joe Biden didn't take Elizabeth Warren's plan. He didn't go and take, Tulsi Gabbard's plan. He didn't go and take Pete Buttigieg's plan. Joe Biden came out and said, listen, I'm the head of the party, whether you like it or not, whether you're a Democrat or not, I'm the head of the party. This is what I'm going to do. And tonight, if people were looking for Joe Biden to take ownership, then that's what he did. And I think that I respected the man for it. I respected him for saying, listen, I'm not for the rioting. I'm not for all this stuff. And I was shocked. I'll say that. I was shocked when he came out and he said, we actually want to do more for police. And when he said that, I was like, okay, this guy either he has missed his talking points, or right now he's so flustered that he's just kind of saying everything that he really feels. It may have been more of the latter, because Donald Trump, I was trying to figure out, okay, what exactly was Trump doing? It wasn't like it wasn't a new playbook for Trump. I mean, we saw him doing the same thing throughout all of his debates in 2016. When he called Jeb Bush low energy Jeb, or he called Marco little Marco, or he told Rand Paul, he was like, well, I could talk about looks because there's a lot of content there. When we saw these things, we talk about when he talked about Ted Cruz, or when he talked to, I forget the woman who ran, and Trump talked about her face. We saw those things. We saw, and even when Trump debated with Hillary, we saw Trump with that. I think the lowest part of the debate for me came, and this is a special part for me, because as an influencer, or as somebody not even to the level that they're at, but nonetheless, as somebody who is in the public eye, oftentimes it's like you go low when you begin to touch somebody's children. And the whole part about, my son, about Joe's son being a cokehead, all this other kind of stuff. Listen, when you talk about a person's children, to me, that's low. And I was happy that Joe Biden came out and he just said, listen, yes, my son, like many of you, my son has had a cocaine habit, but he has kicked it. He is over and above it, because, you don't, I mean, that's his child. And I thought that in itself, no matter, like, hey, listen, let's talk about the fact that your son got all this, that your son received money from China. Let's try to dig all that stuff up. We could talk about that kind of stuff. But when you start talking about, hey, well, your son was legally discharged because he was snorting coke, at that point, I'm like, okay, is this still a debate, or have we just lost all degree of civility here? And so that part really, really, really bothered me. No,
I mean, I agree. Just to go back to what you said initially. I kind of wasn't surprised that he has kind of is now being more vocal about law and order, because I've seen Democrats in general kind of changed their tune because they saw it was, the riots were affecting.
They did in Seattle.
The poll numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Even Don Lemon said, hey, we have to start, shutting this down. I mean, I think it was maybe like a month ago. We'd start shutting this down because it's starting to affect, the poll numbers.
Don said that?
Don Lemon, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Shuck it,
yeah.
Ducky, quack,
He
quack.
said it's starting to affect the poll numbers. He said Joe Biden needs to start addressing the riots because it's starting to affect the poll numbers. Because after a while, when you have rioting for 183 days, businesses are, going down. Places are burning up. People are losing their businesses, their homes, their land. At some point, people start to say, wait a minute, what is going on? And they started seeing it reflecting in the polls. And that's when I believe, many of our Democratic leaders started saying, hey,